Well, hello, I'm Mary Moody and I'm here at Hornsby Library to talk about my new book, The Accidental Tour Guide. The Accidental Tour Guide is a book that took me about 5 years to feel brave enough to write, and it's about a period in my life when two people very close to me became critically ill and died. My husband, David Hannay, a husband of 43 years, and my sister, who lived on Vancouver Island in Canada. But it's also interwoven with the story of my secondary career as a tour guide, taking people on adventures, often in the Himalayas or to remote regions like Mongolia and Morocco. I'm hoping people that read this book will be opened up to a conversation about death and dying, because it's a reality that we all have to face at some stage in our lives. And in the book, I talk about my struggle with my husband in particular to have a conversation around what was actually happening at the time, and how the pair of us allowed ourselves, in a sense, to be deluded into thinking that everything would just go on as it always had. I grew up going to Hornsby Library, which was in the most beautiful old two-storey building with wonderful verandas, an historic home in Mossman. And I remember being desperate to get out of the children's section of the library and being able to borrow books from the adult section, because my brother, who was only 14 months older than me, had got into the adult section at a very early age. And I just remember I had to get to that point where they allowed me to cross the threshold into the adult book section. In fact, one of my favourite stories as a child, and I can't remember the name of the author, was Tom and the Water Babies, which was a very dark story about a little boy who was a chimney sweep, and he obviously died and drowned and was under the water, and it was all about his clean life when he was washed clean from soot. And it was a book that really, really touched me, and I think my mother had to stop me borrowing it from the library because I obsessed about it a bit and kept reading it over and over again and having a little weep. A book I've read recently that I absolutely loved, in fact I got onto the author's website and wrote him a fan letter, was a chap, he's an American writer. He's only written 2 books. His name was Tales, and he wrote A Gentleman in Moscow. And it was set just after the Russian Revolution, and it was about this aristocratic gentleman who was more or less locked up, incarcerated in a fantastic hotel where he worked for years and years. And I just loved the main character, the Count. So I wrote this sort of love letter email to Tales, and now he sends me little updates on everything he's doing, along with probably 500,000 other of his closest fans. So when I'm not writing, I love to garden, and I have a very big garden up in Blackheath in the Blue Mountains, and a very big vegetable garden and orchard. I love being a member of a book group. I'd suggest everyone should be a member of a book group, and I love hanging out with my 11 grandkids.